Welcome to this mini presentation that focuses on the practical steps recommended for you and your team to get started using Plan B with your targeted students. There's a lot of information to take in, but none of it is new based on our training and subsequent meetings since we started this journey together. Feel free to pause the presentation anytime you would like to catch up on any notes you might take, or you can rewind the presentation to listen to the same slide over again. Let's get started. First, if you haven't found a few minutes to speak with the other members of your support team, that's an important first step. You have some decisions that you need to make together. For example, which student is each member of your team targeting for Plan B conversations? When are some times during the day when you think those proactive Plan B conversations might be best to have? Before school? During a private lunch in a quiet place with just the two of you? After school? You'll also want to think about a regular weekly schedule, day, time, location, things like that, that your support team can meet to share the recordings of your Plan B conversations and to lovingly provide one another with caring feedback. Of course, there are likely many other details and decision points that will come up later, and your group will need to decide the solutions as they go. Step 2 is for each staff member to figure out what the kid's deal is to the greatest extent possible. Complete as much of the intervention worksheet as you can before your first conversation, then come back and add more insights that you gathered working with the student. The intervention worksheet should be the one place to which you consistently return to add important new information and insights, some of which may contradict older information. Remember, figuring out the kid's deal is a messy process, almost like putting together a 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle. Be patient and fit as many of those pieces together as you can until you feel like you're developing a clearer picture of the child and what his or her deal really is. Remember also to use your study packet from our Saturday training class to help you with parts of the intervention worksheet. Among other resources that you'll find there is a list of the lagging skills and how they may be displayed in a child or adult. Step 3 is when you take the time to plan and prepare for having the Plan B conversation with the student. The two forms you see here are actually front to back on one sheet of paper. You can find that paper in the K drive or in hard copy form on top of the filing cabinets behind Kathy's desk in the main office. Complete the Plan B worksheet first to help you organize your thoughts. Then fill out the Plan B cheat sheet to help you know what words you think should be used to make the conversation a success. Also, a part of Step 3 is to secure some type of audio or video recording device so that you can record your Plan B conversations. The Media Center has some options in the Flip Cam category, or if you feel the camera would be too distracting for the student, I've used my iPad in the past. I usually just set it in the middle of the table with the cover closed while a recording app is running. There are many apps that can do this, of course, but I've always had good luck with SoundNote. Step 4, there's just no other way to say it. Go for it. Remember that you can use the cheat cards that you received in class to help you, if you find them helpful, that is. The regular size paper equivalent of those cheat cards is in your course training packet on pages 22 and 23. That's if you prefer the 8.5 by 11 size version. Either version has the same content. Feel free to use whichever one seems to be the most helpful for you. As you're going for it, it's important for you to recall two important ideas. 1. You have to believe that it's okay to try something new that's outside of your comfort zone. And 2, the notion that Plan B is not a scripted conversation once you get past the invitation phase. Just sit and talk with the child. Ask the questions that arise naturally, just like you would if you were having dinner with a good friend. Step 5 comes after the Plan B conversation has ended, either successfully or unsuccessfully. It's time to debrief the conversation while it's still fresh in your mind. To do this, use another double-sided sheet of paper. The Plan B tracking sheet helps us track a student's progress over time by recording how many unsolved problems have been durably solved. The review and debrief side of this same piece of paper asks a number of questions to help you pull out new information and insights based on the recent Plan B conversation. There are a lot of questions here. You don't need to provide lengthy answers unless you feel the need. You don't even have to answer all of the questions if you don't think they are applicable. These questions also serve as a reflective piece that you can use as discussion points during your support team meetings. This piece of paper that has double-sided content can also be found on the filing cabinet behind Kathy's desk in the main office. Step 6 involves sitting down to talk with your support team to share your recorded conversations and your various pre- and post-work. To be most prepared, bring several things with you to each meeting, including your Plan B worksheet and cheat sheet, as well as your Plan B tracking sheet and reflection, and of course, the audio or video recordings of your recent Plan B conversations are important to share. Also during Step 6, take turns playing the recordings, making observations, and providing caring feedback both on what your teammate did well, in addition to ideas or suggestions for improvement during the next conversation that your teammate has with the targeted child. Be sure to jot notes of the most salient points you gain from your teammates during the team meeting. You can do this on the Review and Debrief worksheet, on the Intervention worksheet for that child, or in your journal. Finally, Step 7 is to document all of the rich information and insights you have gained from planning the Plan B conversation, executing it, and then reflecting on it both by yourself and with your support team. Get all the important details down where you think they need to be recorded, keeping in mind that your intervention worksheet is probably the primary location where you should be recording this new information or these new insights. When your group is finished meeting, please put a photocopy of the updated intervention worksheet, as well as the tracking sheet and the review and debrief forms, and place them all in Brent's mailbox. When implementing a new approach like collaborative problem solving, there are always a lot of details to take care of, which typically leads to many questions that get asked over and over by different people. In an effort to save you asking questions that have already been answered, this FAQ has been developed. First, if your question is, I missed the Saturday class, what should I do? The answer is to see Drea to plan a time to get caught up. Don't worry, it's relatively easy. If your question is, when does our support team meet? The answer is that this is something you need to discuss with your team and report your common time that you agree upon, both to Brent and to Drea, and that does need to be done by Friday, April 5th. If your question is, how often is our support group expected to meet? The answer is at least once a week. Can support staff get paid for off-contract time? The answer is that support staff should turn in their desired meeting schedule to Drea, and she will get back to you about what will work. When do we turn in our identified student names to Drea and Brent? As mentioned before, Friday, April 5th. If you've missed the deadline, please contact Brent and Drea as soon as you can. When should we start having Plan B conversations? In a word, immediately. And oh my, what if I just can't find the time and I have tons of questions? Rest assured, your team will help you reflect on your questions. You have resources available to you, such as your PBIS team, which consists of Teresa, Mary, Emily, Anna, Amy, and Lisa. They're great sounding boards. Brent and Drea are also here to help. Don't hesitate to rely on your resources. And finally, where do I find information and forms? First of all, it's important to check the Phoenix calendar daily. It's also important to check your email daily. The K-Drive has all the forms, and they are also located beside the copy machine on the filing cabinet behind Kathy's desk in the main office. You can also check Brent's blog at phoenixcps.blogspot.com. Save it to your favorites. You'll notice that I do upload quite a bit of content, both related to the work that you're doing at Phoenix with collaborative problem solving, as well as other posts that still have to do with collaborative problem solving, but may not necessarily be specific to Phoenix. One other question that sometimes gets asked has to do with paying our associates to be involved in this training. As we all agreed at our Saturday training several weeks ago, it would make no sense to train only certified staff on this approach while leaving the other half of your staff unaware of what is being taught. Phoenix staff make up a strong team that is collectively needed to run a school successfully. What is sometimes not understood, however, are the strict rules governing support staff contracts. Essentially, if a support staff member is not officially, quote, on the clock, they should be nowhere to be found in the building. They should not be working on anything school-related at home, period. To allow our support staff to participate, their contract does allow for additional time on top of their normal hours, as long as they have approval from their immediate supervisor and they get paid the same rate. Many folks don't necessarily understand these HR-related details and may wonder why support staff want to make sure that they are approved for additional working hours for which they are compensated. If you have further questions on that, please be sure to see Drea. By now, you should all have the book titled The Explosive Child finished, and hopefully are well on your way toward digging into your second book titled Lost at School, which focuses more on the use of Plan B in the school setting with non-compliant students. The suggested due dates that are displayed here will assure that you finish the book by the time we're ready to wrap up our official CPS work very near the end of the school year. While you read, be thinking about what the book is teaching, that you can relate to the work that you do with your students at school, especially related to Plan B conversations. Here's a reminder of our tentative schedule for the rest of our time together. Notice there are a few more PBIS and all staff meetings scheduled before mid-May. Oh, and just because I'll be phasing out the week of May 13th, doesn't mean you can or should stop applying your knowledge and skills with Plan B. The more you practice, the better you'll get. And finally, you're always welcome to get in touch with me via your preferred method of communication in case you run into questions or problems. It is likely that my westdesmoinescommunityschool.org email address will be deactivated once I end my contract in mid-May. Your safest bet may be to use my Gmail, work email, or cell phone to get in touch. It has truly been a pleasure to work with all of you these last few weeks, and I look forward to each week remaining before the end of the school year. You're doing a tremendous job implementing Plan B, and you're only going to get better from here. Best wishes, working with the hand you've been dealt.